Welcome to the Omnia Sol Art Show, a glitch art video podcast hosted by Omnia Sol. Episode 22. Dragons. Howdily doodly, everyone out there in the land of the internet. Welcome to TOSAS. Welcome to the Omnia Sol Art Show. I am your host, Omnia Sol. Welcome to the show. Tonight we got a really fun episode for you. The episode is called Dragons because tonight we are taking on our metaphorical dragons and we are glitching the famous Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon, as well as glitching Dragon Ball Z, a tape from the Namek saga. I believe this tape is called, I'll have to double check, but I believe this tape is called Betrayal. Yes, the tape is called Betrayal, so very excited for that. So dragons, let's get into it. So I know the past couple episodes we have avoided the section where I read from a book, but tonight we are going to get right into it. I promised all the words heads out there that if you missed the section where I read from a book, well, buckle up, bucko, because we're reading from a book again. We are going to start this show off with a little section that I like to call It's Time for Words. It's time for words. It's time for words. All right, tonight on Words, we are going to be reading from Carl Jung, the psychologist, philosopher, magician, Carl Jung. We are going to be reading from his book, Man and His Symbols, edited with an introduction by Carl Jung, profusely illustrated. And we're going to read a little bit about dragons. So here it goes. Usually in mythology, the hero wins his battle against the monster. I shall say more about this in a moment. But there are other hero myths in which the hero gives in to the monster. A familiar type is that of Jonah and the whale, in which the hero is swallowed by a sea monster that carries him on a night sea journey from west to east, thus symbolizing the supposed transit of the sun from sunset to dawn. The hero goes into darkness, which represents a kind of death. I have encountered this theme in dreams presented in my own clinical experience. The battle between the hero and the dragon is more active form of this myth, and it shows more clearly the archetypal theme of the ego's triumph over regressive trends. For most people, the dark or negative side of the personality remains unconscious. The hero, on the contrary, must realize that the shadow exists and that he can draw strength from it. He must come to terms with its destructive powers if he is to be sufficiently terrible to overcome the dragon, i.e., before the ego can triumph, it must master and assimilate the shadow. All right, so that was Carl Jung from Man and His Symbols, and that was the section. It's time for words. It's time for words. It's time for words. So I wanted to do with the topic of dragons, there are so many movies I could do. In the Rings episode, we glitched Lord of the Rings. Obviously, I could do those trash Hobbit movies because they have a dragon in them, or There's Aragon, whatever that movie is called, Dungeons and Dragons. There's a bunch of movies with dragons. But the reason I chose Dragon Ball Z and Enter the Dragon is because in both those cases, for the most part, there is not a dragon scene. Obviously, Enter the Dragon, there's not. It's been a while since I saw it, but I don't remember. It's a kung fu film, and I don't with Bruce Lee, and I don't remember there being an actual dragon. There is an actual dragon in Dragon Ball Z. However, that dragon does not make an appearance that often. The show really isn't about the dragon much at all. The dragon does show up from time to time when they collect all the Dragon Balls and they make a wish. They bring the dragon out and they make a wish, which is actually based on, I think it's, what is it, Journey to the West or Journey to the East? It's whatever direction India is from China. Journey to the West. Journey to the West. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is actually based very, very loosely. Dragon Ball starting out, and then Dragon Ball Z is like this sequel, but it's actually just one story. It was going to be called just Dragon Ball throughout, but they decided to differentiate it for American audiences, add the Z, make it more clever or whatever. But the manga just goes throughout. It was actually supposed to be more Gohan's story than Goku's story, because Goku's story was more Dragon Ball, but then fans loved Goku so much that they ended up bringing him in. Anyways, loosely based on Journey to the West, also known as the novel known as Monkey, where a monkey goes from China to India to get these Buddhist scrolls, and so it's a very, very old novel. Anyways, Dragon Ball Z is very, very loosely based on that, where instead of scrolls, they're getting these magic Dragon Balls that summon a dragon. You can make a wish. Anyways, I love this series, especially for basically for Toriyama's art. And you'll also see it in, if you've ever played the video games Dragon Quest, formerly known as Dragon Warrior, the JRPG video game. Akira Toriyama does the character designs for that, does the art for that. It's beautiful. I love Toriyama's art mostly for, I think his landscapes just knock it out of the park. And I love when Dragon Ball Z gets more space oriented, because I love to see his planets. I love to see his aliens, his creatures, his monsters. Love that. Also, with Enter the Dragon, you can't go wrong with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's the fucking GOAT. He was the greatest of all time. Still is, rest in peace, the greatest of all time. And yeah, anyways, metaphorical dragons. So we talked last week about the dark side, and I mentioned the shadow self, and Carl Jung in Words, Words, Words brings up the shadow self. What is your shadow self? What is your dragon that you need to overcome? For me, my dragon had a lot to do with depression. And my depression led in my 20s to a lot of drinking, and I have been able to fortunately quit drinking. Recovering alcoholic. So shout out to bubbly water, all sparkling beverages, soda, tea, all the things that are non-alcoholic, for helping me quit drinking. But I often face periods of depression. I've been on so many different antidepressants. I've tried so many different things. The greatest antidepressant that I have found for me is making art, is my own form of art therapy. And I was kind of in a slump the past few days, and I had to really force myself to get out of bed and make this fucking episode, because I knew working on the episode would make me feel better. It gives me a sense of accomplishment, and it helps me slay my dragon. So there might not be many people watching, but I know there are a few, and I really appreciate it. I make this show basically for myself. One, because I like making it. I like glitch art. There wasn't a show that existed quite like this, and it helps me slay my dragons. But if there is anyone else out there who can get some joy, that this art can spark some joy in you, that makes my day. That makes me feel better about everything. So thank you for watching is all I want to say. And if you need help slaying your dragons, reach out. I am not a therapist, but I can lend an ear. So yeah, if you ever need anything, reach out and I will help you. I can also read your fortune, which we've got a card of the show coming up later, which I think you will all enjoy. But second segment of the show, let's get into what am I drinking tonight? All right, so tonight I am drinking a vanilla latte. I don't know if I've ever drank a vanilla latte on the show before. Oh, that is good. It is creamy. It is dreamy. It is a vanilla latte. I would rate this vanilla latte probably 5 out of 5 vanilla lattes. It's just that good, folks. It's just that good of a vanilla latte. And that was what am I drinking tonight? All right, so we're going to go ahead and play our first song of the show. And because I was depressed this week, I did not put any effort into booking a musician. So we're going to go ahead and play some of my unreleased music. And I got a very encouraging email about the last song that we played on the show, the Dark Side song. So I'm going to play more of my noisy stuff. This is a song that is named after the Animal Crossing episode that we did, Utopia, because part of the music on it is taken from the Rainy Day Animal Crossing GameCube music that is distorted, bunch of other shit thrown on it, did some drum work on it. Anyways, the song is Utopia. The album, if it does come out, I will give you more details when it gets closer to being finished. But here is Utopia, and we will be back with you after the song. I don't think I've played this song before, but if I may have. I really don't think so. The other songs on this that I have so far for this album, Movies I know I've played, Season Greetings I know I've played, New Blue I made for the Perfect Blue Rose episode I think I played. Utopia I don't think I've played yet. But if I have, I apologize. But I hope you enjoy it regardless. Here is Utopia. right, that was Utopia by your host, Omnia Sol. And we are going to go ahead and move on to the next segment of the show. This is the section of the show where I read your fortune. It is time for
Card of the Show.
All right, so for tonight's card of the show, we actually had a question from a viewer, Nelly. And I just want to remind people that if you ever have a question for card of the show, feel free to email me at omniasolart@gmail.com. You can also call into the show. I have a Google Voice number, which is always in the show notes. And that Google Voice number is 262-612-3069. It's always in the show notes. So you can call and leave a message if you prefer it that way. You can email me, omniasolart@gmail.com. But if you have a question you want answered, I got the cards. I can read the cards for you, see what the cards have going on. But Nelly asks, let me pull up the email now. How can I find balance with all of my life and commitments? So we are going to ask the cards that. And if you have that same question, then go along with you can probably take this advice too. But this card is specifically for Nelly. But we are going to see what it says. So we're going to go ahead and do the first shuffle now. All right. Time for the second shuffle. And the third shuffle. All right, let's see what card we got. All right, so we got the Five of Swords, which I don't think we've gotten on card of the show before. Let's double check. No, we have not gotten Five of Swords, so that's fun. This card it shows a guy with it's like a person with red hair, and he's holding two swords, and he's got two swords in one hand, another sword in the other hand. He's looking kind of menacingly over at two people, and there's two fallen swords on the ground, and it's almost as if he's like defeated them in battle and taken their swords, and he's like, ha ha, I've got all your swords. That's always how I interpret the card, of like he's kind of like this almost like a bully archetype of just this person who's going around stealing swords. So we are going to go ahead and see what the book has to say, and then see how we can take it and put it towards the question at hand. So what the book has to say is failure, defeat, degradation, conquest of others, unfairness, slander, cruelty, cowardliness. Unexpected defeat or failure may be coming your way. You thought that everything was going in your favor, but at the last moment, the tide unexpectedly turned against you. You were cheated of your victory. It is an unfair result, but there is nothing you can do about it. You are unaware of the background and circumstances. If you ran from the situation out of lack of moral fiber, deal with it. We can't all be heroes. Learn from the experience and move on. Beware of cruel actions of others. You may face prejudice and slander. Standing up to adversity is your only option. All right, so to bring it into the question at hand, which is how can Nelly find their balance with all of their life and commitments? Looks like what the main thing that this card is telling me is that you need to take a step back. You have bitten off more than you can chew, And you need to take a step back because you are facing adversity right now. You have just like too much on your plate. It seems like some of the commitments you're dealing with, if this card is accurate in your life, you may have some kind of shady people, some people who are slandering you, so some people who are trying to be victorious over you, and you need to get these cruel actions of others away from you is my advice. Yeah, so to find balance, I think the main thing is to step back, to figure out what your main priorities are, and then that's what you need to commit to, because you only, as far as we know, you only got one life in this corporeal, is that the term, this human form. Maybe there's reincarnation, I don't know, but for as far as we know, you only have one life here on this earth, in this current form, in this current life. So to find balance with your life and commitments, take a step back, look at what is really, look at your own dragons, because to me this Five of Swords really goes along with the theme of the episode, because this is a dragon energy character who is trying to steal your swords, and you gotta step back and you gotta say, hey, give me back my swords, so that, I don't know if that is good advice or not, but that is what the card is telling me. So I hope it helps. Thank you so much for your question, Nelly. And that has been the
Card of the show.
All right. So I got to say, I am pretty happy with how the card of the show went, in the sense of that it matched up so well with the theme of the episode, which is dragons, because we all got to stand up to adversity. We all got to stand up to our dragons, whether that be our work and life commitments, whether that be mental health issues, whatever that is, we got to stand up to it. So we're going to go ahead and play another song, another unreleased song that I don't think I've played on the show before. This is a song titled Buzz that I actually made, and I made harsh noise like this before by taking, sometimes when I started out in glitch art, before I did any video glitch art, any kind of analog glitch art, I would do digital glitch art by taking photos and opening them up in a text editor, fucking around with the code, exporting it. Another thing I would do is exporting a image file as a BMP, taking it into the music software Audacity and as raw data, and it would show up as a song file, and you could put different effects from Audacity onto the song file, then export it again as BMP, and those sonic noise effects, those musical effects, whether that be reverb, echo, distortion, would show up visually on the image. But anyway, sometimes I'd like to take the noise file, because it should not exist. It is a glitch in the perfect definition of a glitch, because it shouldn't exist. If you really think about it, how on earth can an image file be converted to a sound file? It doesn't make any sense. But sometimes I'd like to take those sound files and, with the different effects on it, see what it sounds like. And it sounds like harsh noise. It is very, very abrasive, but I'm going to let you hear it. The song is titled Buzz, and it will be on the upcoming album that I have a name for, but you will hear it here first. I will announce it here first, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse, so I'm not going to announce the name of the album quite yet, but it will eventually be an album available on Bandcamp. But the song is called Buzz, And we will be back with you after the song. right. So the song was titled Buzz. The album is the I'll tell you the name eventually. I will tell you the name eventually. I'm not going to tell you the name right now, but I will tell you the name eventually when it is named. But the artist, of course, is your host, Omnia Sol. If you are a musician and you are watching the show and you want your music on the show, you want to be the featured artist on TOSAS, the featured musician of the week, send me an email. Send me an email at omniasolart@gmail.com, and I will check out your music, include whatever music you want to promote on the show, whether like links to the songs or whatever. I'll need the actual songs to drop into the Premiere file for the video podcast. But yeah, send me an email and we'll make it happen. I love hearing new music. I love promoting other DIY artists doing their thing. I don't have a huge reach, but if you like my art style, let's work together and let's make a little music video. And that's the thing too that I like to do, is that if you do like the video and you want to use it for a music video, I can cut out where your song was. I can put whatever text you want on it, and we can make a music video for your song together. I'm really getting into video art. As you can tell, I'm 22 episodes deep into this show, and I would love some more opportunities to make music videos for artists. So let's work together. Shoot me an email and you can be the featured artist of the week. All right. So I think we are going to go ahead and close out the episode. I think that we have had a very good episode. As you can tell, it is a little shorter than usual. Well, maybe after the closing credits here, it'll be around the same time as the other episodes. But yeah, I wish I had more to say, but sometimes you run out of things to say, and that's okay. At least this episode is coming out in a week's time, from a week from last week's episode, as opposed to coming out like 2 weeks later, like a week and a half. I'm sticking to the weekly schedule, like I said I would do. So I'm proud of myself, and that's what matters most. And I forced myself out of bed to make this episode happen. I conquered my dragon, so I hope that you can conquer your dragon too. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the Patreon patrons who are supporting the show. I want to thank Tish, Alex, Jordan, Stephanie, and Adam for supporting the show on Patreon. I want to thank Nelly for making a donation to the show and for just emailing me support. It really means a lot that there are people watching this show. And thank you so much for Nelly's question too, for card of the show, which really made this show special, I think. And other than that, if you like the show, please like and subscribe on YouTube. That really helps out a lot. It helps out tremendously because I really would like a custom URL, and that takes 100 subscribers, and I am not there yet. So tell your friends if you like the show, like and subscribe. If you want to financially support the show, keep it going. On patreon.com/omniasolart. All that jazz will be in the credits as well as the show notes, so you don't have to listen back to me and make sure that you heard the right URL, because everything will be in the show notes. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for supporting the Omnia Sol Art Show, also known as TOSAS. I am trying to think if there's anything else I need to announce or anything. I don't think there is. But yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.